Creativity is always highly valued in cinema, but it seems that when it comes to live-action adaptations, the more they try to innovate, the more criticism they tend to receive. Having learned the hard lessons from the backlash faced by its two predecessor princesses, Ariel and Snow White, the Lilo and Stitch project has tried to avoid unnecessary controversy right from the announcement by presenting the design of Experiment 626 almost exactly as it was in the 2002 original. Even the original voice actor, Chris Sanders, is returning to reprise his beloved character. After a series of failures, Disney seems to be seriously considering every move for the future and wants to use this summer blockbuster to make up for what has been lost. So, with the promise not to ruin the original image, will Lilo and Stitch be a successful live-action adaptation? What has the film done well, and where has it struggled in bringing these animated characters to the big screen? Let's find out together in today's video. It all begins on the planet Truro, where the United Galactic Federation is putting Dr. Jumba Jookiba on trial for illegal genetic experimentation. He created 626, an invincible creature, powerful, intelligent, but extremely fierce and destructive. Sentenced to exile, 626 later steals a patrol ship and escapes to a strange planet. That planet just so happens to be Earth, and the place where Experiment 626 lands is the dreamy island of Hawaii, where 6-year-old Lilo secretly wishes for a true friend. After losing their parents at a young age, Lilo and her older sister Nanny have only each other to rely on, and both have to work extremely hard just to meet the requirements set by social services. Nanny wants to keep custody of Lilo, but their financial situation makes it nearly impossible. And so, after a chance encounter, the creature being hunted across the galaxy and the orphaned little girl gradually form a special friendship. If Lilo and Stitch is an emotional journey of lost souls finding each other, then the products in the Disney collection Stitch from the Icon Denim brand are created with that very same spirit, better together. Each shirt represents a unique personality, yet they all come together in the same summer vibe, bright, fun, and connected. Inspired by Buddy's style, this fashion statement isn't just for you, but also for your friends. No two alike, but somehow, when you're together, you just fit perfectly. Especially, you'll get an instant 15% discount when you use the code FIAFIM15 for these officially licensed Disney designs. No matter if you shop online or in-store. The promo code is only valid from now until June 27th, so don't miss out. This summer, don't just dress alike. Dress together, with Stitch, with Icon Denim, with Better Together. At first glance, the 2025 film looks like a perfect 3D recreation. From the meeting on planet Truro, to the scene where Stitch is captured, climbs onto the ship to escape, and even the frog he meets for the first time on Earth, all of these are directly lifted from the animated version, even down to the camera angles. Surely everyone remembers the man who always drops his ice cream cone in the animated movie, right? He also gets a chance to make a comeback on screen. The visual effects for the character Stitch are also carefully crafted and lively. Every little expression, like drooping ears, squinting eyes, or growling, is portrayed in great detail, combined with the familiar voice acting of creator Chris Sanders. It can be said that 626 can easily win over even the most demanding audience. However, the film's director, Dean Fleischerkamp, doesn't just stop at making a high-budget copy, he also shows that he truly understands the original work. If you remember, Lilo and Stitch is, at its core, a journey to find family. Lilo and Nanny are both orphans, while Stitch is a lonely creature, born without any family. By understanding the core of the story, Dean Fleischerkamp knows exactly where to dig deeper and which aspects to focus on. Right from the start, the film spends a lot of time introducing Lilo and Nanny's lives. From Lilo always acting out because she lacks adult attention, to Nanny being aware of this but still too busy working to make ends meet. At the same time, both of them are constantly under pressure from social services, who believe that Lilo should be adopted by another family. It's this careful exploration of the original story that makes lines taken from the animated version, like, "I'd rather you be my sister than my mom," or when Stitch struggles to pronounce the word family, feel so impactful. Looking back at the previous adaptation of The Lion King, a film that also copied almost every scene from the animated version but completely lacked its soul, Lilo and Stitch shows us a much clearer dedication to truly capturing the essence of the story. Even though it might not convey 100% of the emotions, for me personally, all the important scenes are handled skillfully, with clear causes and effects. If you've seen director Dean Fleischerkamp's previous film, Marshall, The Shell with Shoes On, you'll know that he's someone who can weave a mature story into adorable children's characters. Lilo and Stitch has managed to capture that as well. It's fun and humorous, but still clearly shows Stitch's transformation from a mischievous creature to someone who cares about others. Once the foundation was solid, the team confidently introduced their own unique changes. That's right, even though I mentioned earlier that this is a live-action adaptation faithful to the original, it's inevitable that some events have to be adjusted during the adaptation process. For example, in a live-action film, it's pretty much impossible to pull off a scene where Stitch launches an entire truck into a lava pit, it explodes, and then shoots back up like a rocket. The dynamic duo of mad scientist Jumba and the plastic-looking Plankton are also two characters the film was forced to change. Unfortunately, these adjustments didn't turn out as well as hoped. If you remember in the animated version, both of them were sent to Earth to capture Stitch and had to blend in with humans. Of course, in the live-action version, you can't just have a four-eyed alien and a one-eyed, four-legged stick wandering around in broad daylight. So, these two characters had to switch to human forms, which made them a lot less interesting. What do you guys think? Personally, I could barely laugh at any of Jumba or Plankton's scenes. Having two real actors play the roles takes away a lot of their unique traits. The most obvious examples are the scenes where Dr. Jumba causes trouble with his oversized body, or Plankton's crooked, always anxious posture. But even in the scenes where they use live-action forms, it feels like the special effects for this duel aren't as polished as Stitch's, they're pretty stiff. Not to mention, Jumba actually looks a bit scary. The same thing happens with supporting characters like David, the sun-kissed surfer, or Cobra Bubbles, the retired CIA agent turned social worker. But this is also something we can sympathize with the filmmakers about. Because what makes these characters so memorable relies a lot on the animation style of the original, and it's really hard to find actors who match those distinctive features. So, don't be too disappointed if most of Jumba and Plankton's scenes are just them as humans, or if CIA agent Cobra Bubbles suddenly loses his original cool demeanor. Speaking of acting, in contrast to a meticulously crafted Stitch, Lilo's performance hasn't really stood out. Child star Maya Kealoha is still very cute, adorable, and comes across as genuine in the playful scenes with her alien friend. But when it comes to the important moments, she hasn't quite managed to convey the more complex emotions. But that's understandable, since when Disney cast her, she was only 5 years old. I noticed in the movie, there were at least 2 times when the camera deliberately cut away from Lilo's face to hide the fact that she couldn't show the right expression. But as I mentioned, this probably depends a lot on each viewer's expectations. If all you want is to see a Lilo who's truly 6 years old, then Maya Kealoha comes across as pretty natural without even having to act. Up to this point, it seems like the changes from the original have mostly led to negative results, right? But luckily, in Lilo and Stitch, there's one change that not only preserves the original character but actually adds more depth to the story. That's none other than the character Nanny, Lilo's older sister. In the animated version, viewers notice that Nanny's room is filled with medals and trophies, implying that she used to be a surfing star. From this, we can infer that after their parents passed away, Nanny gave up her career to take care of Lilo and worked as a waitress at restaurants on the island. Inspired by this detail, the 2025 version gives the older sister her own fully developed character arc. She not only tries to keep custody of Lilo, but there's also a conflict because, in order to secure a better future, Nanny needs a stable job. She can't rely on waitressing forever. And above all, she also needs to live her own life and pursue her passions. It's this very conflict that makes the final climax so compelling. As a subtle implication that was set up from the start, the filmmakers didn't have to worry that their additions would feel out of place. In fact, the film even strengthens the bond between Nanny and Stitch, something the animated version didn't explore very deeply. I think this is exactly the kind of adaptation that future live-action films should learn from. Change things up, but still hold on to the core values that made the original successful. Lilo and Stitch managed to do just that. It even expands on the message of Ohana, that in a family, no one gets left behind or forgotten, by showing that even when separated by distance, as long as there's love, we're still a family. All in all, even though it still has its shortcomings, the live-action Lilo and Stitch is a heartfelt adaptation, fun, energetic, and carrying just the right message. The movie is definitely a wonderful treat to kick off the summer and brings back nostalgic feelings for 2000s audiences about the friendship between 626 and little Lilo. So, don't hesitate to head to the theater to enjoy the peaceful scenery of Hawaii, the vibrant hula dances, timeless Elvis Presley songs, and an incredibly adorable main duo. I think both young viewers and parents alike will find moments of real entertainment here. And that's all of Them's thoughts on Disney's latest adaptation. For you, is Lilo and Stitch the best live-action remake Disney has ever made? Leave your thoughts below so we can discuss together. For now, goodbye and enjoy the movie.
See you later. Alright, son.